Hello, my name is Maria Martinez and I would like to welcome you to Afro-Cuban Coordination for Drumset. In this video, I will explain and demonstrate exercises to help you develop what I believe are three necessary concepts in learning a rhythmic style, and they are coordination, feel, and improvisational techniques. By developing each of the concepts I mentioned, you'll be able to express your musical ideas with ease and authenticity. These lessons will be in a variety of Afro-Cuban styles, such as mambo, ñañengo, songo, and Mozambique. In addition to learning the rhythms, claves, and techniques presented in this video, it's important that you listen and become acquainted with these musical styles. By listening to and analyzing the music, you'll begin to learn the musical language of each style, which in turn will make your vocabulary and interpretation of the music more authentic. So if you're ready, let's get started. The rhythmic foundations of most Cuban musical styles are based around it. This means that all instruments in the ensemble play musical phrases based on the clave's direction and rhythmic feel. The rhythmic feel or melody of a song determines the direction of the clave. Once the clave pattern begins in a song, it typically does not change directions unless the arrangement has a section or phrase with an odd number of bars. The clave is felt and played in 2/2 or cut time, so I recommend that you use a 4-part counting system, 1 ienda, 2 ienda. The Cuban clave is a 2-bar rhythmic phrase, 1 bar with 2 notes and the other bar with 3 notes. This is typically referred to as 2-3 clave or reverse clave. I'll explain the types of Cuban claves later. But for now, let's refer to 2-3 son clave, example number 1 in the booklet. Here it is. 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 1 ienda, 2 ienda. To change the direction of the clave, simply reverse the 2 bars so that it's 3-2 clave or forward clave. 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 1 ienda, 2 ienda. So far, we have been working on the son clave, which is one of the 2 types of Cuban claves. The second is called rumba clave. Refer to the 2-3 rumba clave example number 2 in your booklet, and I'll demonstrate it for you. 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 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 1 ienda, 2 ienda. Notice that the 2 side of the clave is identical in both the son and rumba claves, but the 3 side of the bar differs by an 8th note rest on beat 4. The rumba clave was typically used in sacred styles of Cuban drumming, but today, the son and rumba claves are commonly used in contemporary Cuban music. Though the son and rumba claves are not interchangeable in their traditional use, they can be mixed in certain Latin jazz or commercial styles. The 2 claves originally derived from the 6/8 clave. For an example of this, please refer to example number 3 in your booklet. I'll demonstrate the 3/2 rumba clave twice and in the 6/8 time signature, and then I'll go into the cut time clave example and repeat it twice. 1, 2, 1 ta ta 2 ta ta. One ienda, 2 ienda, 1 ienda, 2 ienda. Notice I played the same pulse for both the 6/8 and the cut time signatures on my hi-hat. The way this is achieved is by using a dotted quarter note as the pulse in the 6/8 and a half note as the pulse in the cut time example. Here's example number 3 one more time, but twice as long so that you can play along. Ready? 1, 2, ready. Play 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 1 ienda, 2 ienda. Before we move on to the mambo, here are a few key points to understand about the clave. Let's use example number 4 in the booklet as a reference. The and of beat 2 on the 3 side of the clave is referred to as the bombo note, and beat 4 is called the ponche. Combined, these 2 notes are called the tumbao, which I'll play with the bass drum on both sides of the clave, like this. 1 and the 2 and the 1 and the 2 and the. I think you'll understand the importance of the tumbao rhythm and how it applies to the drum set as we progress through the mambo lesson. In 2/2 or cut time. Before we get too far into the mambo, I should point out that the term mambo only loosely describes the style I'm referring to in the lesson. In Cuban music, the tempo can sometimes distinguish one particular style from another, and the mambo style is usually played at fast tempos. For the purpose of the lesson, however, we'll work through the exercises at a slower tempo. When the mambo style first became popular, the drum set was not part of the traditional percussion ensemble. Instead, the traditional percussion ensemble generally utilized congas, timbales, guiro, clave, bongo, and bongo bell. Throughout the years, drummers have adapted the rhythms played on the traditional percussion instruments to the drum set. For example, here's a 3/2 son clave rhythm which can be played with a cross stick on the snare drum. 1 and the 2 and the ready, play, and. Another example of adapting a traditional rhythm and sounds that involve the standard cascara pattern, which is derived from the traditional rhythm played by the timbale player. The literal translation for the word cascara is shell, and the drum set player can play this rhythm on the ride cymbal, cowbell, closed hi-hat, or on the side shell of the floor tom. The pattern itself is a 2-bar rhythmic phrase that can be played in either 3/2 or 2/3 and in son or rumba clave. First, I'll demonstrate the cascara rhythm in the 3/2 son clave on the timbales using example number 5 in your booklet. Then I'll play the cascara pattern on the ride cymbal using the 3/2 son clave with the cross stick. One, two, 1, 2. Generally speaking, the closed hi-hat or shell of the floor tom would be played during the verse A section of the tune, and ride cymbal cowbell would be played during the high dynamic sections, such as the bridge, solo, or B sections of the tune. If you'll recall, I defined the tumbao at the end of the clave lesson. The bass drum pattern in the mambo is derived from the tumbao of the clave. Refer to the cascara ostinato example number 6 in your booklet, and I'll demonstrate it. 1 and the 2 and the 1 and the 2 and the. If you experience a coordination problem when you play these examples, it's probably because you're not hearing how the 2 rhythms fit together. So to help you internalize the clave while playing the right-hand rhythms, try clapping the clave while singing the right-hand pattern, like this. 1 and the 2 and the 1 and the 2 and the. Cha ki cha cha ki cha cha ki ka ki ka ki ka cha ki cha cha ki cha ki cha ki cha cha ki cha cha ki cha ki cha ki cha cha ki cha cha ki cha. Notice I basically sang 2 different syllables. One for the accented notes and another for the unaccented notes. It really doesn't matter how the syllables sound as long as they're different from one another. Let's try using the ride cymbal variation in examples number 7 and number 8 in your booklet. First, I'll sing the example number 7 while clapping the clave rhythm. One y and the two y and the one y and the two y and the cha kitty cha cha chiquita ta cha kitty cha cha kitty ta cha kitty cha cha kitty ta cha kitty cha cha kitty cha cha. Now play number 7 and number 8 on the drum set using the cowbell. Play the accents on the mouth of the bell and the unaccented notes towards the middle of the cowbell. I'll play each example an even number of times like this. One y and the two y and the one y and the two y and the. Although the coordination is easier to deal with on the ride cymbal, the correct feel is best realized playing the rhythm on the cowbell. Once you start playing the variation on the cymbal, however, it is not necessary to divide the accented and unaccented notes between the ride and the bell of the cymbal. I'll demonstrate this by going back and forth between the cascara ostinato number 6, then I'll play the ride cymbal variation number 7, and number 8, repeating each example an even number of times. One y and the two y and the one y and the two y and the. In this lesson, as in the mambo lesson part 1, we're going to play the cascara pattern and the right cymbal variation while maintaining the clave with the left foot. To get started, go to the cascara ostinato example number 9, which is in 2-3 son clave. I'll demonstrate. One y and the two y and the one y and the two y and the. In this ostinato, the left hand emulates the pattern traditionally performed by the timbali player. Here's example number 10 on the timbales. The conga pattern, which is also referred to as the tumbao, supports the same rhythm. Notice that the cross stick emulates the conga slap and the mounted tom emulates the open tone. Let's try example number 11. Now refer to the ride cymbal variations in examples 12 and 13 of your booklet. Here's number 12 on the drum set using the cowbell. One y and the two y and the. Remember to play the accented notes on the mouth of the cowbell and the unaccented notes towards the middle of the cowbell. Here's number 13, played on the cowbell. One y and the two y and the one y and the two y and the. Okay, now that we've played through all the examples, let's try playing the ride cymbal going back and forth between ostinato number 9 and the ride cymbal variations 12 and 13, repeating each example an even number of times. One y and the two y and the one y and the two y and the. Played by the bongo player during the high dynamic sections of a tune, such as the montuno or mambo sections. In Latin jazz, it would be played during the bridge, solo, or B sections of a song. During these sections, the timbali player may utilize the mambo bell or the ride cymbal, or sometimes play both in unison as a counter rhythm to the bongo bell pattern. In this lesson, we'll combine the mambo bell variation and the bongo bell pattern while playing an ostinato with the feet. To accomplish this, you'll need two bells, one for each hand. The left hand plays a higher pitched bell, or you can use the middle of the bell to achieve the desired sound. The right hand plays the bongo bell, which usually has a deeper pitch. Refer to the standard bongo bell patterns number 14 and 15 in your booklet. You'll notice that the bongo bell rhythm corresponds directly to the clave and is also referred to as the bongo bell pattern, which I'll demonstrate in 2-3 clave, and then in 3-2 clave. One and the two and the one and the two and the. And now in 3-2. One and the two and the one and the two and the. Once you've got that down, refer to the bongo bell ostinato example number 16 in the booklet. I'll demonstrate what the feet are playing first. One and the two and the one and the two and the. Let's add the bongo bell pattern. One and the two and the one and the two and the. Now, for the counter rhythm, refer to the mambo bell example number 17 in your booklet. The left hand plays the mambo bell rhythm written below the bongo bell pattern. Here it is using only hands. One and the two and the one and the two and the. Now let's add the feet to the ostinato, like so. One and the two and the one and the two and the. Okay, let's check out the band as they perform a tune in the mambo musical style. many hybrid interpretations of the 6/8 Afro-Cuban rhythms. These include the traditional Guido rhythm, Afro-Cuban 6/8, Bembe, and Ñáñingo. The Ñáñingo style of drumming is derived from the percussion of the traditional Guido. This rhythm is traditionally played with sets of 3 or more chiquites and an iron bell. To get started, let's try the Ñáñingo groove played on 2 congas using example number 18 in your booklet. Now, for the Drumset Ñáñingo groove, go to example 19 in the booklet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This Ñáñingo groove works best during the melody or A section of a tune and is a traditional drum set interpretation with heavy emphasis on the dotted quarter note. The right hand pattern can be played on the cowbell or the right cymbal. Now let's check out the Ñáñingo half-time variation in example number 20. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's try going back and forth between examples 19 and 20, an even number of times each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The idea of the Ñáñingo ostinato is to help you develop the coordination to improvise the bass drum phrases. Example 21 has a more syncopated bass drum rhythm. Let's give that one a try. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice that the backbeat gives the groove a strong half-time feel. This sounds great during the instrumental or solo sections of the tune. Let's listen to how all the concepts are pulled together in the band's performance of a tune in the Ñáñingo style. more of a concept than one particular beat. Played in 2/2 or cut time, it's a blend of folkloric and contemporary Cuban drumming styles combined with elements of funk and jazz. The songo ostinato I'll be demonstrating are popular grooves often played in the Latin jazz style. Although the clave rhythm is not always played, it's important to be aware of the clave direction while playing the songo rhythm. Along with the drum set, the timbales were also used in developing the songo rhythmic style. So here's a songo rhythm on the timbales in 2/3 clave using example number 22 in your booklet. Now I'll demonstrate a basic songo rhythm for 2 conga drums using example number 23 from your booklet. Okay, let's transfer that to drum set. Refer to the drum set songo ostinato example 24 in the booklet and give it a shot. 1, 2, 1 y and 2 y and. If you listen carefully, you'll hear the rhythmic correlation between the timbale, conga, and the songo ostinato groove on the drum set. The idea of the songo ostinato is to help you develop the coordination to improvise bass drum phrases. Refer to the songo bass drum variations in examples 25, 26, and 27. We'll play the bass drum variations with the songo ostinato 4 times each. Here it goes. 1 y and 2 y and 1 y and 2 y and. Okay, it's time once again to listen to the band. Here's a tune in the songo rhythmic style. carnival music that evolved from the comparsas and conga Cuban rhythmic styles. The traditional instrumentation consists of 2 cowbells, 2 bass drums, congas, horns, and vocals. Let's look at some of the drum set hybrid rhythms that have more of a traditional approach. Go to example number 28 in the booklet. This example demonstrates the 2 traditional bass drum rhythms played simultaneously using bass drum and floor tom, while the 2/3 rumba clave is played with the cross stick. 1 and the 2 and the 1 and the 2 and the. Okay, let's move on to examples number 29 and 30 in the booklet. These are 2 different traditional cowbell rhythms that in the Latin jazz setting are usually played by the timbale player, but here we'll play them on the drum set. Here's example number 29. 1, 2, 1 and the 2 and the. And example number 30. 1, 2, 1 and the 2 and the. The next drum set groove is a hybrid rhythm called the New York style Mozambique. Notice that the ride cymbal rhythm closely resembles the cowbell pattern we just played in the last example. This hybrid rhythm contains elements of funk and is derived from the traditional Mozambique drumming style. To examine this a little closer, let's look at examples 31 and 32 in the booklet. But before I demonstrate these examples, notice that the variations are played on the bass drum while the ostinato is played on the ride cymbal, hi-hat, snare drum, high tom, and floor tom. 1, 2, 1 and the 2 and. Here's our next musical example with the band. This is a tune in the Mozambique and Songo styles. For the final segment of this video, I want to focus on some important tips that will help you identify the clave direction while you listen to and study Cuban music. Listening is the most important part of learning any musical style, and in Afro-Cuban music, it is not always easy to figure out the direction of the clave. One way to make this determination would be to listen for the cascara pattern, usually played by the timbale or drum set player. If the clave is in 2-3, the beginning of the cascara phrase will sound different than if it's in 3-2. Here's the beginning only of the cascara phrase in 2-3. Then I'll play it in 3-2 several times so that you can hear the difference between the beginning of each phrase. And now, starting with the 2-3, and with the 3-2, and the 2-3, and back to the 3-2. Now I'll play the entire two-bar cascara phrase in 2-3. And in 3-2. Another way to figure out the direction of the clave would be by listening to the rhythm of the bongo bell. When the bongo bell plays this rhythm, then it's safe to assume that you've identified the two side of the clave. So a 3-2 bongo bell pattern could sound like this. And in 2-3, it would sound like this. The conga pattern can also be helpful in determining the clave direction. For example, if you hear the congas playing this basic tumbao, then you're in 2-3 clave. Whereas in 3-2 clave, it sounds like this. The melody of a song can sometimes determine the direction of the clave, but occasionally musicians will disagree as to whether a song is in forward or reverse clave. These discussions regarding clave direction occur even among professional musicians. So if you're playing Cuban music, don't be embarrassed to ask someone in the band whether the clave is in 2-3 or 3-2. I hope these tips help ease the frustration of determining clave direction. Before I go, I'd like to say that I hope this video helps you to acquire the coordination skills needed to express your musical ideas with ease. Until next time, keep grooving, and I hope to see you soon.